Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Piedmont Dragway in beautiful Julian, North Carolina. You're watching Full Contact Racing. I'm Jack Smackatuya. Welcome to the track. I hope you're ready for some great full contact action this afternoon because we're ready to give it to you. If you're not familiar, we'll have 3 colored heats, the red, the blue, and the green. Right now on the track, we've got the Red Heat drivers. We've got Mark Benson from Shannon's Auto Repair in the number 9 car. We've got Buck Nasty from the Rockin' R crew in the number 7. Kyle Dowell from the Beer Drankin' Race Team in the number 13 car. Robbie Walters from Off-Road Towing in the number 4. Jimbo Hinman in the Blue Moonshiners car, number 15. Charlie Payne in the number 23 car. And, of course, Jimmy Goodman, Stromey from Cadillac Heaven in the number 6 red car. And we've got a green flag. Here we go. And a little bit of action. First turn. Ooh, and Jimbo Hinman from the Moonshiners is already on his roof. Jimbo Hinman taking that front turn a little bit too tight, and he rolls it over, and he is on his roof, tires spinning. We'll get a red flag here, and we'll go attend to the driver, make sure he's okay. Let's take another look at that. He's confident going into turn number 1, and then he's not so confident getting upside down, and he makes contact pretty quickly with his elbow. You can see his arm hitting the ground and almost loses a finger rolling over right there. We take all the glass out of our vehicles. Here's another look from the hood of Jimbo Hinman's vehicle as he rolls over. Nice and easy. Bloop. That was a nice shot we got from our dash cam there as you see Ryan Roan, the originator of the Full Contact Racing Association, running over to help. Nope, he's not going to help. He's taking out his phone to get a selfie with Jimbo as he's upside down. We get the thumbs up from Jimbo. Actually, that looks more like a thumbs down, but he's upside down. And not anymore. Mike Walco and Ryan Roan getting that car right side up again, and looks like Jimbo is ready to rock. And we've got a green flag back in it. Ooh! And that was Buck Nasty coming in hot, taking a shot from Mark Benson from Shannon's Auto Repair. We've got a closer look inside of his vehicle just then. Man, Buck Nasty taking a shot in the rear like he's getting the COVID vaccination. And another good collision there as somebody gets put into the wall in the back stretch. And Stromey, Jimmy Goodman trying to get in on the action in that back turn as Buck Nasty turning around backwards, tries to get back down that front straightaway. Everybody getting spun around backwards. We got a wet track here. Had some rain the last couple days, and everybody's trying to do their best just to get going straight. And ooh, Mark Benson taking a big shot in that front straightaway. Now he's sandwiched on that front straightaway, trying to get out of a jam, and he does. To see if he can get turned around before Buck Nasty puts a shot on him, and Buck takes the pass. Mark Benson getting turned around as the Moonshiners car, actually driving on its wheels for a change, makes its way around the track. Got some really good action right here in this first red heat as we see Jimmy Goodman making the turn to hit that front straightaway. Gets through that unscathed as Jimbo Hinman makes chase right behind him in the Moonshiners car. We've got Charlie Payne with the orange pool noodle on the front of his car as Mark Benson putting a shot on Jimbo Hinman, and that tire on that front passenger side looks pretty rough. I don't know if that's the angle that it was designed to rotate at. It looks like he might be done for the moment as Charlie Payne leads Jimmy Goodman around the track. They're down that front straightaway. Charlie Payne and Jimmy Goodman, from what I hear, word around the campfire is that they've got a little bit of beef. I'm not sure which way that goes or if it goes both ways and they both hate each other equally, but look for some intense action between those two guys as they work that beef out here on the track. That can come from anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. That can come from a cheap hit in a previous race. That can come from personal beef off the track. But wherever it comes from, usually the best place to work it out is right here in the dirt. And you see Charlie Payne on that back straightaway, getting into it, getting some speed going. He's tapping the top of the roof. I'm sure he's if that beef is really what it is supposed to be. Charlie Payne has one car in mind and one color on his brain, and that's the red car of Jimmy Goodman right here. We see Mark Benson in that number 9 gold car right in front of Jimmy Goodman as Jimmy Goodman hits that front straightaway, and Jimbo Hinman gets turned around by Charlie Payne in that back straightaway into the wall, not into the muck, and Charlie Payne excited about it. Everybody seems to have gotten the first heat jitters out of their system as Mark Benson playing a little rope-a-dope with Jimmy Goodman up in that back corner. Evades Jimmy Goodman, escapes him for the time being. Ooh, and just as Jimbo Hinman gets turned around and headed in the right direction, Mark Benson putting a shot on his passenger tire again, and Jimmy Goodman getting thrown into the wall by Charlie Payne, inflicting his own little bit of pain on Jimmy Goodman out there in the back corner. And Jimmy trying to shake the sand out of the front of his vehicle right there, as you see. And Charlie Payne giving Jimmy another little love tap in that back corner. This is not where Jimmy prefers to be out in front. He prefers to be doing as much damage as he can in the back of a driver, and he takes another little shot as Mark Benson trying to get in the middle of that beef, putting a hit on Charlie Payne's back passenger side. There's Mark there, surveying the damage and trying to get the crowd involved. And there's Jimmy Goodman trying to put Charlie Payne into the wall himself, misses and puts himself into the wall. It's not always pretty out here, ladies and gentlemen, but it is fun to watch. Mark Benson leading the charge in that back straightaway, comes around that first turn, followed by Jimbo Hinman, who's trying to stay alive there. He's flipped over in the first 10 seconds of this heat, has been taking a few shots here and there from the other competitors, and Mark Benson all alone in that back straightaway again, doing a pretty good job for his first time driving. This is the first race that he's getting under his belt out here at Piedmont Dragway in Julian, North Carolina. So happy for them to have us. Check us out at FullContactRacingAssociation.com if you're interested in joining a race or getting some more information on the rules and regulations of what our drivers have to do to get involved. A little bit of a lull in the action here as I don't know what's going on in that back corner, but the 3 remaining drivers are doing a little do-si-do around Buck Nasty back there as he sits in his car, probably really upset that he's not in it. Something happened to him a little bit early on. Not sure what's going on with his car, but he is not able to get that thing up and running again, and he is out of the heat so far. He may be able to recover and get back into it a little bit later on in the day, but as for right now, looks like he is stuck. As Jimmy Goodman making his way down that front straightaway with a little bit of speed, puts a pretty good shot on Charlie Payne. Charlie trying to return the favor, but doesn't really have enough juice to do too much damage to Jimmy as they lock horns. And Mark Benson doing his best to try and put it in reverse and put a shot. And there goes Jimmy putting a good shot on the driver's side tire of Charlie Payne. We knew that these guys might go at it, and looks like they're trying to do what they can to take each other out right here. Mark Benson doing what he can to get involved. Everybody having a little bit of trouble getting some speed going. That's because their cars have already taken a little bit of damage, and also because the track is a little bit slick. And you can see that lack of speed causing a little bit of trouble with these guys and reducing them to these types of hits, which honestly is not that exciting, but that is the red flag for the first heat. Actually, still a little bit of time left in this first red heat. Looks like the track officials are just trying to get these guys to tighten it up and keep it moving. As you can hear, Jimmy Goodman's car having a little bit of trouble. All of these guys struggling already, and Jimbo Hinman's front passenger side tire not looking so hot as he puts himself into that corner wall. Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble with his battery. Got it back in reverse, and he's trying to spin it around. Jimmy Goodman doing the polite thing and letting him get spun around. They're trying to tighten these cars up and get them back going again. A little bit of a love tap. Maybe Jimmy trying to help Jimbo Hinman around the track there. Puts him into the wall where he was rolled over earlier, and it looks like that is the red flag. That's the end of the first red heat. We'll get the skid loaders out here and clear the track and get ready for the next heat, which is the blue heat. Here's a look at some of the hits that we saw from this first red heat. That's Jimbo Hinman getting rolled over in the first 10 seconds of this red heat. Gets upside down. And here's a couple of the hits that we saw in this first one. I hope you enjoyed the action so far. I'm Jax McAtuya. Thank you so much for watching Full Contact Racing. We've got another heat coming right up. Out there on the track for the blue heat, we've got Matt Braswell from H&S Towing. He's in the number 28. We've got Zeb Cox for Me, Myself, and I in the number 41 car. Dave Harmonica, Dave H. from Dave's Racing in the orange and black number 8 car. Patrick Moore from Moore's Fabrication in the bright green car number 22. We've got Jackie Payne. He's got the green pool noodle in his car, the number 24. We've got Chris Smith from Smith's Construction in the blue trump car, number 17, as well as Full Contact Racing legend and crowd favorite Psycho Billy in the Advanced Automotive Repair number 5 car, the black car with the green bumpers, and CJ Rail from Niced Up Motorsports in the rainbow colored car, number 30. And we have a green flag for this first blue heat as we take a look inside Matt Braswell's car. And we come around that first turn. Everybody's starting off pretty quick. Everybody's led by Dave Hadavanica. Coming around that first turn, getting a little shove, and then finds his way to the wall. 17, Chris Smith, the trump car. And Psycho Billy coming around that first turn pretty quick as 28, Braswell put the hit on one of his competitors. You see from inside of Matt Braswell's car there, Matt's the guy in the pink shirt, the pink door tape. Already putting a couple good hits on his... Whoa! And Psycho Billy coming in hot around that first turn. Almost loses control. Almost gets rolled over himself. That guy loves to put the pedal down. Look out for Psycho Billy. He may not be the last driver in this heat, but he sure as hell will be the fastest driver in this heat. I'm sure of that one. A little bit of action in that front corner, back corner. This track is a little bit smaller than what we're used to. There's 2 corners, really. Not really 4 turns on this one. Oh, and Dave Hadavanica putting a hit on the back end of Psycho Billy. Looks like his hood comes detached. There's another angle right there as Dave Hadavanica puts it in reverse. Tries to get back into the action. And he puts his hands up. Not a good idea putting your hands out the window, but it looks like he's gesturing that something has died. Maybe that's his battery. Looks to be doing okay to me. But we've got a red flag. You can hear the whistles, hear the horns, clearing a bumper off of the track as we take a look at Matt Braswell's hit that he puts on Dave Hadavanica. That's a pretty good shot in that back corner. And they're back up and running. Ryan Roan getting rid of that bumper out on the track. We don't want anybody hitting a bumper and sending it flying into somebody else's car, so we do our best to keep those off the track. And Chris Smith in that blue trump car taking a shot in that first turn. And that is Zeb Cox on that back straightaway that we just saw. Here's an aerial look from our drone. We've got the, that track looks pretty nice from up there, actually. Doesn't look as small as we thought it might be from up there. Ooh! That was a hell of a shot. Ooh, Zeb Cox, look at that. Lost a belt or something. Just popped right out of his hood. Car's literally falling apart out here. We see Jackie Payne coming down that front straightaway with a little bit of speed. He's got that orange shirt on. You can recognize him by that because the cars sure as hell aren't very recognizable at this point. And somebody gets put into the muck during the red flag. I guess somebody didn't see it. Not sure if that driver, the number 30 car, that looks like CJ Rail, put into the rail himself. Put right into the muck. We'll see if he can get out of that jam as somebody lost an entire tire. Just throws it in the back. And I'm assuming that he's not going to run it with 3 tires out there. He's calling it quits for this heat. We'll see if they can get that fixed. Not likely, as it looked like it a lot. Watch this strongman competition. This is Magnus Magnuson in the tire toss. Just heaves it in there like it ain't no thing. And runs off the track. Guy looks like a Viking. Who is that? The Patrick Moore from Moore's Fabrication. So take a look at the camera in the back of what I believe is Matt Braswell's car. And we are still on a red flag, but trying to actually clear Psychobilly off of the wall. And it looks like he does a good job helping a buddy out. And you can see Psychobilly just does not want to be stuck. That guy was built for speed as he leads the charge around the track. Trying to build up as much speed as he can. Back in the rear end of that car driven by Matt Braswell, as you see Zeb Cox pushing him around the track and subsequently into the wall in that first turn. Psychobilly in that black car with the green bumper. And he puts a shot on Jackie Payne on that back straightaway. That did not look too innocent. Oh! And what a shot in a car that was already hurting enough. I doubt Patrick Moore is going to recover from that one because it looks like he just lost another tire courtesy of Psychobilly in that first turn. And Psychobilly, time and time again, does not care if you're in the race, in the car. Doesn't matter. If he sees an open shot, he's going to put it down. Probably one of the reasons why. Oh, it's Psychobilly. Part of the reason why he hasn't won a race yet, because he lacks a little bit of restraint, but almost sending himself over again in that second turn as he takes it a little too tight, a little too fast. Kind of like he likes his women. Oh, hey. As Psychobilly putting Zeb Cox into the wall back there, and Matt Braswell having a little bit of engine trouble and tire trouble. He is almost completely out of rubber, and he is not shy, despite those issues, putting a hit on Zeb Cox in that back corner, as well as Patrick Moore's car. The green car taking even more shots back there with no driver to be seen. Patrick Moore already safely off the track, but his car taking a beating out there in that first turn. We've got another red flag. Oh, and that's the end of the blue heat. As we look inside Matt Braswell's car, quite steamy. Let's take a look at some of the hits that Mr. Pink put on his competitors out there. That's a pretty good one in that first turn. Quite a doozy right there on Dave Hadavanica. And then catching Psychobilly as an innocent bystander. Here's a hit that Zeb Cox put on Dave Hadavanica. Shaking something loose right here. Messing his game up. He calls it quits right there. Not sure what to do. And Zeb Cox losing some kind of ring out of the hood. And again, here's Patrick Moore tossing tires like a beast. Out there on the track for this green heat, we've got Andy Anderson, sponsored by Jeffy's Fab Farm in the number 18 red car. We've got Ryan Bisping Sr. from Bisping Land Improvements, offering up a lot of assistance out there with the skid loaders as well this afternoon. Thanks to Ryan Bisping for that. We've got David Brown in the number 12 Steeler Nation car. Sarah Little, first-time driver from Shannon's Auto Repair, our only female driver out there in the number 44 car. Justin McCoy in the Trump 2020 number 33 car. Chandler O'Bailey in the Green Clean number 10 car. Puke, sponsored by Great Clips in the number 3 car. I think that might be a little bit of a joke because of Puke's normally quite fashionable hairstyles. Ryan Roan in Frankenstein, the legendary vehicle that is a conglomeration of about 6 or 7 different Chevy Impalas out there in the number 2 car. And Kyle Vanderpool, sponsored by Piedmont Dragway in the number 1 maroon car. And the track announcer calls for the green flag, and we're off in this green heat. Ooh, and Sarah Little taking a shot right there in that first turn. She gets spun back around straightaways, and she's off to the races. We've got David Brown in that Steelers car getting rear-ended by Kyle Vanderpool from Piedmont Dragway as Puke taking a shot in that first turn, getting put into the wall. There's Ryan Roan driving Frankenstein, trying to catch up to Sarah Little in that first turn, and Ryan Bisping taking some mud to the face. And Sarah Little, what a shot in that first turn. Wow, that was a hell of a shot in that first turn. Being put on Sarah Little, first-time driver, local driver from the Piedmont area. And here's ooh, there was a view from Andy Anderson putting a hurting on Puke's car in that second turn. Wow, what a shot back there. That was a good one. Ryan Roan trying to get in on the action right behind him as he takes off and heads down that front straightaway. We've got the number 14 car. Number 14 driven by Ryan Bisping, following right behind Ryan Roan there. And Puke still trying to get that car up and running after taking some really big hits in that first turn. As Dave Brown takes a shot from Ryan Bisping. And that Trump car driven by Justin McCoy. Ooh, we've got some flames. Frankenstein back in that first turn. On fire. Ryan Roan is in fuego. Fryin' Ryan Roan out there. Engine is on fire. He'll vacate the premises. Hopping out to put some dirt on it, throw some dirt on the fire, and you see the fire truck out there with our firefighters trying to keep it safe. They are on the scene, but Ryan already got it under control with a little bit of dirt. Ryan Roan making a fashion statement, one of the only drivers here to wear an elbow guard, a rib guard, and some catcher's equipment to keep his legs from being broken. Very safe driver. Very fashion friendly. Sarah Little looks calm, cool, and collected out there. She rounds turn number 1 and turn number 2 at the same time. It's a relatively small track. And on the back straightaway, she's getting nudged into the wall, but finds her way out of it, stays out of that muck. As somebody tries to spin around, and Sarah Little getting spun around on that front straightaway as Bisping from the Moonshiners evades a competitor. And Puke just getting going again, puts himself into the wall. As we have a little bit of a traffic jam in that front turn. Puke just trying to get it going as Andy Anderson. Ooh, Andy Anderson putting David Brown into the dirt. And then gets right back into it. Heading down that front straightaway, that red car driven by Andy Anderson from the Juiced Up crew. Getting some speed going. Looks like he's completely lost the rear end of his vehicle. As David Brown is sitting left wondering what happened. Looks like he's not able to get off of the corner up there. Ryan Bisping taking a little bit of a shot from Sarah Little. And she's got some smoke coming out of that hood. Ryan Bisping, if you can't go forwards, you might as well just do what you can in reverse. Ryan Bisping putting himself up on that wall. As Justin McCoy gets put into the muck on that back straightaway. Looks like he's going to have some trouble getting free of that situation. Puke picking on a girl. Trying to put Sarah Little out of the race, but he fails. Man, these guys giving it all they got right now. They're getting some good speed as we see Andy Anderson's angle. He's got some coolant or something, or some oil on the front of his GoPro there, but still getting some good footage from his perspective as he puts some shots on some of these other guys out there and gals. Sarah Little out there still driving. And Puke putting a couple shots on Bisping and Sarah Little out there. Got a twofer right there. And he has 0 tread on that front passenger side tire. Still trying to find a way to make his way around the track. And there you see a little what looks like the rest of his tire out there on that front straightaway. The other guys trying to avoid it. As we see Andy Anderson still making his way around the track with a lot of speed. See that green flag flying on the back of his car. That's Puke is struggling. Puke in that number 3 maroon car has 0 front passenger tire, and looks like the back passenger tire isn't doing much better. But we know that's a well-built car built by Ryan Roan of Ryan's Automotive, the originator of the Full Contact Racing Association. Got quite a build there. And Puke, an intense driver himself, looks pretty happy with himself so far, as Andy Anderson trying to put him into the wall. Andy Anderson looks like he's revving up for... Looked like he was going to take another shot at Puke, but it looks like we've got a red flag. And that is the end of the first green heat. We've got the red heat, the blue heat, and the green heat in the books. We'll give these guys a little bit of an opportunity to make some minor repairs, and we'll get a second heat. And there's Puke. He is amped up, smashing the top of his hood. He looks like he is pretty confident that he got the Mad Dog in that heat. We'll see what happens. Andy Anderson thinks he might have done it as well. And it looks like the Mad Dog of that heat goes to Puke. And it does, as you see him celebrate, and bam! Smashes that water bottle. What a heat. Here's some of the highlights from that first green heat as we get prepared to run another red heat. This will be the second red heat, and Andy Anderson doing some damage out there out on the track. Ooh, what a shot that he put on Puke. Couple shots taken by Sarah Little. Great first effort. We saw some flames. We're back into the action with the second red heat. Coming up, don't go anywhere. If you do go anywhere, go to FullContactRacingAssociation.com and check it out. And we got Jimbo Hinman here. Hopefully he'll last a little bit longer than 10 seconds before he decides to roll it over and put it on the roof. We've got Kyle Dowell there from the Beer Drinking Race team. And Mark Benson putting it in drive and ready to rock and roll. And we've got a green flag. And this second red heat is off. As Jimbo Hinman making his way around that first turn, trying to put a hit on Robbie Walters. And Kyle Dowell looking down, having a little bit of trouble. Looks like maybe a battery got disconnected as Jimbo Hinman, looking in his rearview mirror, sees Robbie Walters giving chase. He's got the unsavory middle finger on the top of his car. Wonder how much time he spent on that one in the shop. As Jimbo Hinman getting put into the muck, And some little kids throwing some plastic balls, courtesy of Ryan Roan out there, throwing some plastic ball pit balls at Jimmy Goodman. I'd throw some, well, that wasn't going to sound right. Jimmy Goodman putting a hit on Kyle Dowell, who's having some real issues back there. Sounds like he's got plenty of power going to those tires, but tires not wanting to spin out there. Stuck on the wall in that first turn. And putting on a little bit of a smoke show as Jimmy Goodman from Cadillac Heaven gets turned back around after taking a shot on that first straightaway. Mark Benson there getting into it. He's getting nice and comfortable in his new hobby out here on the racetrack. First-time driver. Looks like he's getting pretty comfortable out there as more ball pit balls getting thrown out onto the track. Looks like everybody's just picking on Jimmy Goodman. And Kyle Dowell trying to get it going, taking some shots. Cannot make it work. He is stuck on that wall, but nobody really seems to care. They're putting the hits on him regardless. Maybe it's because he's really just kind of being annoying right now and putting a bunch of smoke out there on the track and making a bunch of noises. Jimmy Goodman taking a hit in that front straightaway. Jimbo Hinman putting a shot on Kyle Dowell and says, sorry, man, got to be done. I really don't feel too bad for you. Ooh, and Mark Benson takes a hit from Robbie Walters in the number 4 car. No mercy. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy from Robbie Walters, putting a Cobra Kai style shot on Mark Benson, first-time driver, and he's going to be feeling that in the morning. Jimbo Hinman, not sure what he was pointing at there. I don't know if he was calling out a shot or he's just taking it easy out there, looking like the dude in that back straightaway. In more ways than one. Probably feeling no pain right now. Yep, that's true. It's accurate. Feeling no pain. Seems to be very sportsmanlike in his attitude as he nods to his fellow driver out there and agreeing, yes, nice shot that you've just put on me, sir. As Jimbo gets a little help around the track, struggling a little bit, trying to make it go and doesn't seem to want to go. that front passenger side tire is struggling. It's Mark Benson taking another shot from Jimmy Goodman. He's having trouble keeping his helmet on. Hit after hit. They're trying to rock his noggin and take his helmet off as Jimmy Goodman, another one on Mark Benson. Let's take another look at it from the aerial drone cam. As he gets spun around and put into the wall, you see him getting just manhandled by Jimmy Goodman. Number 9 car driven by Mark Benson. First timer out here at Piedmont Dragway in Julian, North Carolina. I believe he's a local gentleman. As Jimmy Goodman either having some engine issues or maybe some second thoughts, or for once being a little bit empathetic and taking it easy. Nope. I guess he was just planning his shot, trying to put another hurting on Mark Benson. It looks like it's just the two of those guys right now going head-to-head in this second red heat. Everybody else either stuck or having some issues getting their cars up and running again, as Mark Benson trying to get away from Jimmy Goodman here on that back straightaway. And Jimbo Hinman calling for Mark Benson to give him a little bit of help, and he's appreciative. Thank you, sir. Jimmy Goodman once more putting a shot on Mark Benson, and Mark Benson losing his tire. Ooh, Jimmy Goodman takes a hit himself up against the wall there. Looks like he's a little rattled there, trying to straighten his helmet out and get his bearings again as he takes quite a shot in that turn. And Jimbo Hinman trying to get the oars out. Looks like he's up the river without a paddle. Trying to get that car moving any way he can. It's a slow. That's one crappy-looking canoe he's got there. And Jimmy Goodman. Oh! And that was a radiator. Jimbo Hinman just struggling out there already, and Jimmy Goodman tries to put the finishing touches on him. And Jimbo Hinman, not quite sure what to say about that. Tries to make a point, but doesn't have the words. And it looks like he's put his visor up. Hey, little kids trying to throw those ball pit balls and trying to hit Jimmy Goodman. He's the consummate bad guy, I guess. Everybody loves to hate Jimmy Goodman. He's nothing but a big sweetheart in our minds. But the little kids trying to hit him with those plastic ball pit balls that ooh, Mark Benson putting a cheap shot on Jimmy Goodman, putting it in reverse and hitting the driver's side door of Jimmy Goodman. Not the safest shot. We don't like to see stuff like that out there. That's why we paint those doors white. See that on Mark Benson's car as he tries to make his way back around the track. He's got 3 tires. He's got that front driver's side tire completely off the rim, and he is limping as Jimmy Goodman looks like he's got plenty of power, going full speed to try and close the gap and make up the distance between Mark Benson. I may have spoke a little bit too soon. He's doing a little bit of limping himself at this point as Mark Benson looks like he's sprung a leak in that line coming from his radiator. And he takes another shot from Jimmy Goodman. This might be the death blow as he removes that quarter panel from Mark Benson's car and ditches it like it wasn't a thing. And Jimbo Hinman pointing at his buddy, giving him the thumbs up. I think giving Jimmy credit for that heat. Looks like Jimmy Goodman might be the mad dog of that heat and Dragway is the sole survivor of that second red heat. Moving on to what we think will be the final heat, where we condense all the other heats and try to find the last man standing. Mark Benson just spent. He's covered in coolant, missing a tire, and looks like he's just out of gas entirely on a personal level as he vacates the vehicle. We see a nice aerial shot. The sun going down here at Piedmont Dragway in Julian, North Carolina. The crowd loving it, cheering for Jimmy Goodman, but barely knows where he is right now. And you can see him. He took a couple shots into the to the wall there, but more importantly, put even more shots out of his competitors and was really picking on Mark Benson out there in his first time out here at Piedmont Dragway, taking a couple hits. Jimbo Hinman having the time of his life out there in the Moonshiner's car. A lot of great shots here in that second red heat. Hope you're having a great time. We sure are. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Full Contact Racing. And we've got the second blue heat coming up as the drivers put their cars into gear and get ready to rock and roll. Mike Walco holding his hand up, and the green flag, and ooh, a cheap shot by Buck Nasty, putting it in reverse to start this heat. And what a dick move that was. Buck Nasty putting a hit on Zeb Cox going in reverse, and now he's taking it out on Dave Hadavanica, the number 8 car, getting put into the wall by Buck Nasty. Buck Nasty, who was out relatively early in that first blue heat. Now he tries to take it out on the other side of Zeb Cox's car. Put a cheap shot on him to start off the heat. Now he's calling his shot. Taking pointless shots at Zeb Cox's trunk, who's already struggling enough, trying to get that car back up and running. And Dave Hadavanica in the number 8 car doesn't like a bully, trying to put another hit on Buck Nasty. And does! What a good shot by Dave Hadavanica. Perfectly placed on that front passenger side tire of Buck Nasty. As you see, ooh, Zeb Cox, we see from his angle, almost getting sideswiped as an innocent bystander there. Buck Nasty gets put into the corner, and it looks like Dave Hadavanica says go for it. Big mistake. Big mistake letting giving Buck Nasty a free shot at your left driver's side tire as he takes Dave Hadavanica out, and quite happy about it, quite proud of himself, and it looks like that might be the shot that puts this Blue Heat in the books. Second Blue Heat with only a few drivers in it. A quick one as you see Buck Nasty getting out of his car, amped up, happy with himself, although he had one great shot on Dave Hadavanica in the number 8 car and another equally cheap shot to start this heat off with on Zeb Cox.
Buck Nasty ain't Hadavanica for the chicken outfit either. He got some chicken legs. Lord, I wouldn't bring them out double.
As the track announcer, our beloved Brad Babson, talking a little smack about the other white meat, Buck Nasty. And we've got the second green heat. We've got 5 cars out on the track. We've got David Brown there in the Steelers car. Leading the charge is Justin McCoy in the Trump car, followed by Kyle Vanderpool driving the Piedmont Dragway maroon car that you see right there behind Trump. And David Brown putting a shot on Kyle Vanderpool, spinning him around in that front straightaway, and takes a shot from Andy Anderson in the 18 car. Looks like he's in the muck. He's going to have a real tough time getting out of there as the number 10 car, Chandler O'Bailey in the green clean, number 10 car, driving that sweet Pontiac vibe, takes a shot himself. You see the hood view from Andy Anderson in the number 18 car, the red car, sponsored by Jeffy's Fab Farm, and takes an open shot. We all saw it coming. David Brown maybe did not. Takes a real clean shot from Andy Anderson in that first turn. What a good hit that was. There's something about those that are just so enjoyable and so satisfying. As David Brown tries to exact a little bit of revenge on Andy Anderson, who gets spun around and quickly rights himself to get going in the right direction on that back straightaway. You see him making the turn there, followed by Chandler O'Bailey really limping along in that Pontiac vibe here in this front straightaway as David Brown calling his shot, pointing out Andy Anderson to the crowd, telling them, hey, that's who I'm after right now. I think if you want to call a shot like that, you might want to back it up and be able to drive a little bit faster and catch up to the person that you're trying to put a hit on, but that's just me. As Andy Anderson making his way relatively unscathed, all alone around this track. David Brown in the Steelers car doing his best to close the gap and catch up, but they are at opposite ends of the track right now. Andy Anderson making it a little bit difficult for David Brown to catch up to him. Got a quick little car there from Jeffy's Fab Farm. From the driving with the Juiced Up crew out of Virginia. Got 3 cars left here. Looks like everybody else is out of it. As Chandler O'Bailey, struggling to keep it on the track, puts himself into the wall. And David Brown putting the brakes on and then gives Chandler a little bit of a love tap. Just barely hanging on, Chandler O'Bailey, as Andy Anderson passes him by. Chooses not to put a hit on him. Already having enough trouble on his own. Doesn't need to make that shot. Trying to make it last for the final heat if he can get there. And Chandler O'Bailey not wanting to give up. Trying to get the most he can out of that Pontiac vibe. Andy Anderson. Oh, and what a shot by Andy Anderson. That might have been the shot of the day on David Brown, and he takes another stab at the front passenger side tire, trying to put the nail in the coffin. Look at that shot. David Brown taking a beating in the driver's seat of the Steelers car, courtesy of Andy Anderson, who looks like he is just going on a rampage, putting a reverse shot on Chandler O'Bailey, and that might have been the one to finish him. And nope, not quite, says Andy Anderson. I got one more in me. Let's get that airbag to explode. And it does. Chandler O'Bailey, front bumper says hit me, and boy did Andy Anderson oblige. Look at that. Look at that damage and that smoke coming out of that vehicle. Looks like Chandler O'Bailey throwing his neck brace out. Gonna get out the escape hatch right there as we see the overhead view from the, that looks like it might be Patrick Moore getting out of that vehicle. And we've got a red flag. That's the end of that second green heat. Trying to make his way out of the number 10 car is Andy Anderson, the consummate professional, shaking hands with Kyle Vanderpool, Piedmont Dragway. And that is the end of the second green heat. Final heat coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, we've whittled it down to a final grouping from all three colored heats. Out there on the track right now, we've got 8 cars. Andy Anderson in the number 18 car in that pole position on the inside, sponsored by Jeffy's Fab Farm. Dave Hadavanica in the number 8, David Brown in the Steelers car, Jimmy Goodman in the red car. We've got Robbie Walters, the one with the middle finger on top of the vehicle. Zeb Cox, he's got that green pool noodle. Kyle Vanderpool in that maroon Piedmont Dragway car, local guy. And we've got Justin McCoy in the unmistakable blue Trump vehicle with the flags. Let's get it started. We've got Ryan Roan out there on the track taking one more final selfie. That'll be 75 selfies for the afternoon. And we've got a beautiful evening here at Piedmont Dragway. You're watching Full Contact Racing. I'm Jack Smackatuya, and we've got a green flag. Let's get this party started. The winner of this heat will be the winner of the entire day. The last man standing as the Trump car driven by Justin McCoy gets turned around, and we see some rubbing in that first straightaway as Kyle Vanderpool getting put into the corner. Dave Hadavanica taking a shot from Andy Anderson. Let's take another look at that. Pretty good shot. As Andy Anderson trying to do as much damage as possible and then get out of there. Jimmy Goodman putting a shot himself on Dave Hadavanica in the number 8 car as Andy Anderson puts a little distance between him and the rest of the pack. Ooh, and Justin McCoy taking a big shot from Zeb Cox as you see the hood cam on his vehicle taking a little bit of damage. Zeb Cox getting put into the wall by Andy Anderson, who's putting on a clinic out there. Jimmy Goodman getting spun around by Dave Hadavanica in that front straightaway. So we look at Zeb Cox putting a shot on Andy Anderson. As many hits as Andy Anderson's been putting on the other drivers, he's taking a couple himself and some doozies at that. As he puts one of the other drivers into the wall. Speak of the devil. And Zeb Cox getting spun around backwards, trying to make his way down the front straightaway, wedging himself up against that concrete barrier, able to escape it and get free of the wall. Taking a shot from Kyle Vanderpool from Piedmont Dragway. And looks like we've got our temporary red flag as we hear somebody's vehicle having a lot of problems. Ryan Roan getting out there to clear the track. Looks like we've got a bumper he needs to get out of there. And he does. Off the track and ready to rock. Gives a signal. Keep on moving. Got a green flag. You can hear some of these cars really struggling to keep underway here as Dave Brown in the Steelers car. Looks like he's having some transmission issues. And Andy Anderson and Zeb Cox. Actually, that was Jimmy Goodman and Zeb Cox going head-to-head. You see some sparks under Jimmy Goodman's car. Maybe that's where all the noise is coming from. Somebody really having some engine trouble out there. These guys have been through a lot throughout the day. Pretty surprising that these cars are doing as well as they are right now. And Andy Anderson, Jimmy Goodman, and Zeb Cox having a three-way head-to-head back there in that first turn. Gonna let you digest that one. Just all kinds of mayhem going on there as Dave Hatavanica joining the party. Putting a reverse shot on Andy Anderson, who looks like he's struggling a little bit. Dug in there in the first corner. And Dave tries to take another hit on him. And bam! Andy Anderson looks like he lost his radiator there. And it doesn't faze him a bit as he gets back into it with Dave Hatavanica. Flames coming out of the pipes of Andy Anderson's car as he puts Dave into the wall. Looks like everybody else out there struggling, and that might have been the shot that ended Zeb Cox's evening. Nope, looks like he's still up and running. Andy Anderson really taking no prisoners out there, taking all the open shots he can as we get a little bit closer to calling a winner in this final heat. We've got Jimmy Goodman still alive, Andy Anderson in that red car looking like a spring chicken out there, not really suffering any kind of major engine damage despite his coolant situation. And Jimmy Goodman trying to put the finishing touches on Justin McCoy, who loses his coolant, spraying all over him. Looks like he is really suffering out there as he vacates the vehicle. Too much for him to handle. That coolant, it's no joke. When that starts spraying around your vehicle, a t-shirt's just not quite going to cut it, protecting you against all that hot coolant. As Dave Hatavanica taking a little bit of a red flag cheap shot on Andy Anderson. Sometimes it's hard to see and hear the red flags out here. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Still hasn't seen the red flag. You see some of the track officials and some of the fans trying to gesture to Dave to take it easy. Oh, and Justin McCoy takes a little bit of a breather during that red flag and hops right back in his vehicle, not looking to give up anytime soon. As Jimmy Goodman puts a hit on Dave Hatavanica, who looks like he's struggling with some sort of seatbelt issue. You can really hear these engines struggling in some of these vehicles out there. As Zeb Cox still in it on that back straightaway, putting Dave Hatavanica even further into the wall. Looks like he's already having enough trouble as it is. As Zeb Cox backing into Jimmy Goodman. Ooh, what a shot. We all saw that coming, and looks like a good amount of steam coming out of Zeb Cox's vehicle. He might have a tough time bouncing back from that one as Jimmy Goodman puts it in reverse. Tries to evade Andy Anderson, who's trying to get back into it. And both Zeb Cox and Andy Anderson trying to team up on Jimmy Goodman. Surprising that Zeb Cox is still in this one. Doesn't want to call it quits quite yet. And even Dave Hatavanica still involved. Getting himself free of that wall in that corner. And Zeb Cox putting a little bit of a smack on Andy Anderson over there, who's sitting there steaming. Not quite sure what's going on with his vehicle. Looks like he's trying to get some things worked out. You could see him leaning down to address some issues with maybe his battery. Usually our batteries are right there next to the driver's seat. Could be a gas issue, but we'll see if he can get his car back up and running as Zeb Cox tries to ensure that that doesn't happen. Dave Hatavanica about to lose his hood, putting a shot on Jimmy Goodman. It looks like Zeb Cox heading in the wrong direction, doing a little reverse skate. Takes a shot from Dave Hatavanica. This is the final heat, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we've got 3 cars total still up and running. Actually, Justin McCoy trying to prove me wrong and getting that Trump car back up and running. Trying to make his way around the track and get involved in the party himself. Things are moving a little bit slower right now. Everybody just trying to survive. And Andy Anderson back up and running despite being headed in the wrong direction. He got his troubles sorted out, and he's trying to get back in it. Looks like we've got 3 cars stalled on that back straightaway. Andy Anderson tries to go the other way to try and take Dave Hadavanica. Looks like he might be the only other car still up and running as Andy Anderson tries to put an end to Dave Hadavanica's evening. As they lock horns in that back straightaway, you can see Justin McCoy in that Trump car trying to put it into gear, having a little bit of trouble. Stalling. Not able to put it into reverse. Looks like he's done for the evening, as well as Zeb Cox, who has all but given up. You see he's struggling to get his car going. Jimmy Goodman out of his car. He's done. It looks like Andy Anderson and Dave Hadavanica, if Dave can get his car moving again, looks like we're going to have some help from the track officials and track staff here. Got Ryan Bisping out there driving a skid loader, going to try and move these guys, maneuver them around, and see if they can keep it moving. Want to give everybody a fair shot here, and Andy Anderson busts through past Dave Hadavanica. And if Dave can't get his car moving again, it looks like this might be a victory lap from Andy Anderson, as Brad Babson on the side of the track trying to signal to Andy Anderson to make one more pass despite being... Oh, and Dave Hadavanica still in it. I feel like I'm getting pretty comfortable saying that last name. I might not have it right, but it's getting pretty easy to say right now. Rolling right off the tongue. As they get the skid loader out there to try and get these cars moving again. And looks like that hood of Dave's vehicle, Dave Hadavanica's. We'll get a little help removing that from the skid loader as Ryan takes it off of the vehicle and throws it into the muck in the middle of the track. Trying to figure out, as Brad Babson calls out, the most unique ending to any race that we've had, and he's right. And Brad Babson makes the announcement that Andy Anderson in the number 18 red car, sponsored by Jeffy's Fab Farm, is our last man standing, the winner of this full contact race at Piedmont Dragway, and he's going to walk home with the trophy. Thank you so much for joining us at this Full Contact Racing Association presentation from the Piedmont Dragway in Julian, North Carolina. Our congratulations goes out to Andy Anderson of the Juiced Up Crew out of Virginia, sponsored by Jeffy's Fab Farm, as you see him shake the hands of Dave Hadavanica and walk the track, shaking the hands of Ryan Roan of the Full Contact Racing Association. Gives Jimmy Goodman a hug here, who's having a... Whoa! Jimmy Goodman enjoying a celebratory beverage. Almost takes a dive there. Andy Anderson amped up and proud of himself for finally taking one down here at Full Contact Racing Association. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a blast. See you next time.